So we saw that when I is not equal to j, then the power series Pij is a product of the power series Fij and Pjj. Of course, we only care about the interval, open interval -1 to 1, but this is true on that interval. Now, the heart of this, heart of this is this identity here. And note that this is the reason why we started this expression from k equal to 0 to n. We always wrote k equal to 0 to n, even though k equal to 0 is a triviality. K equal to 0 doesn't contribute because this is going to be 0 when k equal to 0. But we always wrote it like this because we always had this in mind that we want to compare the power series. And for I not equal to j, this expression is also valid for n equal to 0. We made a remark about that. And that becomes handy in this expression here. It becomes very easy to compute. Okay. So, by the way, this is also called, this sequence is called the Cauchy product of the sequence Fijn and Pjjn. And then if you have Cauchy product, then the corresponding power series is just the product. These are things that you must know from your analysis courses. Anyway, now what happens at I equal to j? If I is equal to j, then obviously there will be a problem because there will be a small issue because n equal to 0, this expression is not valid anymore. Okay, so let's deal with that. So when I is equal to j, then obviously PIIS is your PIJS, and that is this expression. Now this expression at n equal to 0, this is PII 0, which is 1. So therefore, we can separate that out. It becomes 1 plus the same sum, except the sum is starting from 1. Now note that PIIN is equal to this guy. This is something we have shown. For all n bigger than equal to 1, for n bigger than equal to 1, PIIN is equal to this expression. So therefore, I can replace this PIIN with this big sum here. However, for n equal to 0, if you put n equal to 0 here, you're just going to get 0. And therefore, it's not going to contribute anything at all. So I can as well put n equal to 0 here. Okay? So even though this sum is from n bigger than equal to 1, here I'm forcing n equal to 0. Because for n equal to 0, this guy is going to be 0 anyway. So therefore, these two are same. Now, the moment we do that, this, by the same logic as before, becomes the product of FIIS and PIIS. So whatever we had last time is true, except that we have an extra 1, which is coming from the fact that PII 0 is 1. Okay? So once you adjust to that, you just get the same expression. So there is one difference, is that this 1. Therefore, this taking this to that side, what we get is that for every s in the interval -1 to 1, PIIS times 1 minus FIIS is just 1. So just contrast it with the I not equal to j case. In the I not equal to j case, PIJS is just simply the product of FIJS and PJJS. But on the other hand, for I equal to j case, we have this identity. Okay. Now this discrepancy is coming, this difference is coming because there was a difference between the expressions of Pijns. When I is not equal to j, it was valid for all n bigger than equal to 0. For I equal to j, the expression was not valid for n equal to 0. So therefore, we had to take care of the PII 0 term separately, which is 1, and that 1 came, one became the difference between the two expressions. So this is the reason why we always made a fuss about why these two things are different, and we always had two cases and so on. Okay. Okay, so we shall use this corollary to actually establish an extremely useful characterization of transience and recurrence. So this is the characterization. So state I is recurrent if and only if PIIN is not summable. This sequence is not summable, but this series is not summable. On the other hand, I is transient if and only if this is indeed summable. Now, intuitively, this should be obvious in some sense. So this is the heuristic. So suppose we start our chain from I, okay? Then when the chance of PIIN of returning to I after n steps is small enough, when by small enough I mean so that this series is summable, okay? Then this, returning to I after n steps is small, so therefore there is a positive probability that the chain won't return to I at all. Okay, this is sort of expected. This is the heuristic behind why, if this series is summable, I is transient. On the other hand, if PIIN is large enough, large in the sense that the series is infinite, then the chain must return to I with probability 1, infinitely many steps. So in other words, that explains why, heuristically at least, when this is infinite, I is going to be recurrent. Of course, these are just heuristics. This is not a formal proof. This is just telling you why one should expect this result. The formal proof would actually need the analysis of the power series, PII and FII. We won't complete the proof today, but we'll take the first step towards it. Okay? We'll prove a lemma, which will be very, very useful to prove the theorem. So what is the lemma? The lemma says, for all state I, if you look at FIIS, of course, FIIS is well defined whenever S is strictly between -1 to 1. Now take the limit of FIIS as S approaches 1 from the left side. This limit exists and it equals the probability of returning to I, starting from I, infinitely many steps. Okay, so I'm not writing separately, but I'm saying that this limit exists and it equals this guy. Okay, so how do you prove this? We'll do it in two cases. First, suppose that look at the power series FIIS, okay, which is this power series. Okay? So if this power series has radius of convergence strictly bigger than 1, then of course there is nothing to be done, because then already if radius of convergence Ri is bigger than equal strictly bigger than 1, then obviously in the range minus Ri to Ri, this FIIS is well defined and it's a continuous function. So therefore, this limit actually equals to FII1, which is well defined also. Okay. And then what is FII1? FII1 is just the sum of all the FIINs in n runs over all non-negative integers. Now FIIN is just Pi of Ti, first return time equal to n. So therefore, the sum is just whatever you need in the right-hand side. Okay? It's just the probability that starting from I, you will return to I infinitely many steps. So that's equal to this expression here. And that in turn is equal to this limit, because FII1 is well defined. It's finite and well defined because the radius of convergence is strictly bigger than 1. Now, what happens when the radius of convergence is equal to 1? The radius of convergence is already bigger than or equal to 1. This is something we have already observed. So the only other possibility is the radius of convergence is exactly equal to 1. In this case, we have to invoke Abel's limit theorem. Okay? How can we do that? Note that this sum, this part of the proof is still valid. Namely, this sum of FIIN is still this probability. And this probability is something strictly between, this probability is definitely bounded by 1 and then hence it's finite. So in other words, this series is actually summable. So in other words, this power series is also summable at, at the radius of convergence, Ri equal to 1. So therefore, Abel's limit theorem will tell us that if FII1 may not be, if FII1 can be defined and if FIIS can be extended to the right hand side, to this boundary here in a continuous fashion. So therefore, this limit that we are talking about is actually equals this sum, and which is in turn is equal to this probability. Okay. So if you summarize this proof, and it's just two cases. If the radius of convergence of this power series is strictly bigger than 1, then there is almost nothing to prove, because then this is a continuous function on the entire interval minus Ri to plus Ri. And therefore, FII1 in particular makes sense. It's well defined. And this limit also is going to exist, and it's going to equal this quantity here. And this is therefore equal to this, which in turn is equal to this. This has nothing to do with whether radius of convergence is bigger than 1 or less than 1, strictly bigger than 1 or equal to 1. Now, on the other hand, if the radius of convergence is exactly equal to 1, then we are in the boundary case, and therefore we have to use the Abel's limit theorem. Now, the power series makes sense even at the point 1, even at Ri, okay? Therefore, this limit will exist and will equal the power series at s equal to 1, which is this quantity, which is this probability. So either way, either by directly using the radius of convergence being strictly bigger than 1, and then directly using the continuity of the power series. Okay, this is the continuity of the power series at the point 1. Or by using the continuity of the power series through Abel's limit theorem, we get this. Okay, so this is where we'll stop today. Next time, we are going to use this to prove the criteria for recurrence and transience.